outdoor spaces tailored to your vision. Give us a call today to schedule a free estimate at 865-384-2012 or just visit us online at ecrtotallandscapes.com.
Located in Knoxville's historic Old City, Barley's offers great food, live music, the best draft beer selection in town, and now your new favorite place to watch sports. Their indoor projector is perfect for any weather, and they've revamped their upstairs area with more TVs to take in all of the action. Their menu features hand-battered chicken tenders, juicy burgers, fresh salads, and the tastiest pizza in Knoxville. You can enjoy their happy hour drink specials daily from open until 6 p.m. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
Hey Knoxville! Surfside iced tea and vodka, made with real brewed tea, is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar, with no bubbles and no troubles. That's right, zero carbonation, so it's easy to sip and enjoy. Headed to a game day or party at a friend's house? Bring an iced tea or lemonade variety pack from Surfside, or try their green tea and new raspberry tea vodka. Find the can with the sunset stripes this season. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sold at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sunshine in a can. Must be 21 or older. Enjoy responsibly.
It's the Chase! It's the Chase! Live 1 to 3, Monday through Friday on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville. Listen to Chase and his friends on WKGN. It's the Chase! It's the Scruffy City! Listen to his friends, and his friends are on WKGN. I'm always taking your calls on the Tennessee Vols. It's the Chase! It's the Chase! It's the Chase!
All right, the Chase is on Knoxville. My name is Chase Thomas, joined alongside Ethan Stone of Saturday Down South, and we're coming to you live from beautiful Knoxville, Tennessee, here in the White Claw Hard Seltzer Studios. Ethan, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. I got a new ride for the next couple of weeks as my car, figures itself out, I guess. I'm still without my car. I've been for 2 weeks now, so happy to get that and get here and be able to talk some ball with you, man.
So that's good. I was worried. I mean, Ethan listeners probably drove by Ethan a couple weeks ago and didn't realize it was Ethan Stone from Saturday Down South over there on, was it Alcoa Highway?
Yeah.
Goodness gracious, man. That's
the very worst possible place to break down. I genuinely, I can't think of, maybe like the middle of I-40 would be a little worse probably, just because it's an interstate. There's no turn lanes. I was able to get into a turn lane though at the very least, so it was just annoying having people go around.
Alcoa Highway is tricky because if you go that way, and I'm a big library stan, as you know, Ethan, and the Blount County Library in Maryville is fantastic. One of my favorites. Elite, and I'm a big library guy. And then you have the Sevierville library that I also love. It's probably my favorite. Sevierville still, I wish it was closer. Powell's in the top 3. Powell's a sneaky good one. Actually not too far from our offices here at Fox Sports Knoxville and Fan Run Sports Radio, but I was thinking about that when you go that way, because they shut off, because Alcoa Highway is just forever going to be in construction, I guess, and they block it off sometimes, where the cops in, you're like, you just have to sit and people drive it. It could be like 10 to 15 minutes where you're just sitting there and you got to wait your turn. Alcoa Highway is always just, you don't know, because you can't plan for Waze. Like you can use Waze, but it will change on a dime. And then you're like, oh, I'm caught. I'm cooked.
Yeah, it's my least favorite road in Knoxville by a good while. It's not particularly clear. And of course, I have to use it more often than probably a lot of people listening. Like if you live in Knoxville and you work in Knoxville, you're going to be in just Knoxville. But I live in Maryville, so I have to go up to Knoxville, talk with my parents, meet with some friends and all this stuff. So I'm going up every once in a while. I take that road every other day. Can't stand it. It's always backed up. Like you say, it's got eternal construction going on and probably will for a good while.
Hey, it's just the way that it is. We also got intern Jay King here, wrapping up this week right here on the Chase. School's back. Are you taking a full course load, Jay King? Are we doing 15 hours, 18 hours, 12 hours? What's it looking like?
It's going to be 15 hours.
Okay.
And I'm finally taking mostly classes that's going to be within my major.
Okay.
Taking 3 different.
Done with the core?
Yes, almost done. I'm taking 3 journalism classes, a political science, and a food science. That's like my only gen ed that I'm taking this semester.
Okay. What about you, Garrett Armbrust? 15 hours, 18 hours? You ready to be
Either
back?
14 or 16. I can't remember. 'Cause
Interesting.
One of my classes is like it's only 2 days a week, so I take 3 classes Tuesday, Thursday, or sorry, yeah, 3 classes. I need to look at my schedule. 3 classes Tuesday,
got time.
Thursday. I don't have class on Friday, and then Monday I take 1 class, and Wednesday I think I take 2. So it's just kind of different each day. But yeah,
Okay.
so
Ethan, what was the most you took in a course load during your undergraduate career at Tennessee? Did you ever get up to 18 or more?
It's funny you asked that because I was trying to think of it. There was one semester that the previous semester I did not do a lot because I can't even remember what I had. I just wanted to work a lot, I think is what it was. And I took like 18 or 19 hours one semester. But most of them I stuck around 15. I tried to keep it kind of that equilibrium. I want to think I did that like my freshman year and I was like, yeah, I can do this. And it just wasn't very fun at all. So I was like, okay, moving forward, it's going to be 15 hours, 16, 14, around that line.
Speaking of Alcoa Highway as well, did you see Southwest is coming to McKee Tyson Airport? That announcement this morning.
Really?
Yeah, we
I
get
had not seen that.
Yeah, we get Southwest finally. But Southwest, of course, comes to Knoxville right after they get rid of what was great in terms of the priority seating and that like we're no assigned seats where if you get there early, whatever, like that going away was that. It's just one of those things where what are we doing? Like that was the major appeal of Southwest Airlines was that how they handled seating and how they handled that way of boarding the plane. And
There were no classes in it either.
right, like, and now it's going away.
Yeah, I don't have anything bad to say about Southwest Airlines. That's news to me. So that's I have had many headaches with different airline companies, and Southwest is not one of them. So that's good news for me.
Southwest also bailed us out when my wife and I went to Maui last summer. Do you remember the airport? Not even internet outage, but there was some kind of technological outage last summer all across major airlines except for Southwest last summer, where people are stranded all over, and it was crazy. Southwest though, flying out of Maui that morning, my wife thought I was joking with like that night before because I just happened to be scrolling through X and I was like, oh, this isn't good. And I don't know if we're going to be able to get out of here. And we had to leave. Our flight was early that next morning. And we kind of went to the airport, not sure if we were going to be able to get out. And it was kind of dicey because where we were staying at did not have any more rooms available after our day when you go around. Maui's not one of those places you just get a room on the fly and you're like, it could have been really dicey for us. We might have been, like, I'm glad we didn't have to really figure it out, but we were able to get out and it was smooth. But I remember landing in Atlanta for our connecting flight, and we drove from Atlanta to Knoxville, and it was just crazy. Like the amount of people sleeping and on the ground and just stranded. It was surreal to see what happened there. But thankfully, we're able to with Southwest get in and get out from Maui. But yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that question. It's funny you touched on it. I was going to be like, there's no way you're flying from Maui to Knoxville. So how did you deal with the connection? But that's nice. Getting to Atlanta and just drive.
It's a nice thing about Atlanta. You can fly anywhere.
Yes.
In the world.
Yeah.
That's like in Atlanta's Delta. So like I've flown like a ton like in my life, but I've never flown anything other than Delta. So I'm just always stuck with Delta.
I think I go between Delta, American, and Southwest. I've never gone Southwest like for a flight that I went to a trip for. But I think it's only Delta that I've been to. But when I went to New Orleans a few months ago, the connecting place was Atlanta. So,
well, there you go. Tennessee Fall Camp Scrimmage number 2 happens tomorrow morning. It's August 14th. We're 1 day away from this big time scrimmage number 2. A lot of key position battles still up for grabs. Center, right guard, left guard. Safety opposite of Andre Turrentine between Idris Farouk and Caleb Beasley. And obviously the one that we've all got our eyes on, which is QB1 between Jake Merklinger, George McIntyre, and Joey Aguilar. Jake would have to, it was one of those things where I was listening to the VolQuest guys on the way in, and I think it was Austin Price who made the note of Jake's got to really ball out tomorrow to really get back into this thing. And it's a big morning. But can you imagine how, because what's so interesting about this quarterback battle anyway, Ethan, is that George McIntyre has kind of been the story over fall camp for Tennessee at the quarterback spot. But if Jake Merklinger, because everything has been so shrouded in mystery and so complicated and wide receivers in and out, trying to figure out who your best 5 in the starting offensive line, this, that, and the other, has made everything a little bit murky as to where things are headed in that department. What I think is fascinating and could throw another wrench, because I think George McIntyre being where he's at has thrown a wrench into just the thinking and where Tennessee could go at quarterback throughout the course of the entire 2025 season. If Jake balls out and it just like clicks Friday morning, that's another wrench where you're like, oh, well, we were headed towards Joey, but Joey had a rough Friday and Jake balled out. Now we have to kind of wonder, has the light bulb gone off there? And you know how I feel about Jake Merklinger, but can you imagine if the reporting coming out of tomorrow's fall scrimmage is Jake Merklinger had his best day for Tennessee and really commanded the offense and looked really comfortable, just to add to a whole lot more just like, oh, what are we going to do here?
Yeah, and I mean, I'll add one to that. Obviously, the report came out the other day that Tennessee is close to naming Joey Aguilar as the starter. I'm not really sure what that means, to be totally honest with you. I wonder about the legitimacy of that, with Tennessee obviously still not having named a quarterback as of right now. But to add to your point, Chase, what if Jake goes out there, balls out? What if Joey struggles? And what if George McIntyre goes out there and balls out against the 2s and the 3s? Then what do you do? Like, who's the leader in the clubhouse at that point after that report comes out? And after, I mean, let's face it, a good portion of the fan base and a good portion of people just assume that Joey, with his experience, is going to be the guy. If he struggles, Jake has his best day of practice and George is the best of the 3. That leaves Tennessee, I feel like, in a little bit of a strange spot heading into, obviously just 2 weeks until the Syracuse game.
Yeah, and we'll see. I'm excited to see what the report looks like. What does center look like? Does Satterwhite have a better scrimmage number 2 for Tennessee? Does Pendleton lock in that center job? Does Sham Umarov make a move at left or right guard? I don't know. I think there's still some interesting storylines going into this fall camp. And then, I mean, Tennessee really needs Mike Matthews to have a good day here in fall camp. You need to see, does Brazel go? I don't know. It seems like Staley is probably not going to scrimmage tomorrow, but we shall see if he makes it in. But I don't know. Amari Jefferson at slot, like that's probably someone who you want to hear did pretty well with his opportunities, kind of like a Star Thomas deal where Amari seems like it's clicking for him at the slot, because if Braylon Staley is dealing with a hamstring thing and you have to be super cautious, you kind of want some reassurance, kind of a la Star Thomas, where Amari Jefferson showed he can be a temporary stopgap. Like you can throw him out there and it'll be all right. I mean, remember, they are the same age and both 4-star guys, top 35 wide receivers in their class. So it's not like Amari Jefferson is this huge drop. It's just we haven't seen anything, and he's coming off a season where he was unable to play due to injury. So I don't know. I mean, that would be one to me to monitor as, hey, it'd be a pretty good development for Tennessee if Amari Jefferson had a good scrimmage number 2 and looked comfortable in the slot.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of areas just along the offense you think of in general. I mean, we've talked about the receivers, as you just did with Amari Jefferson. Who's going to take that step there? I think it's interesting. We talked about a little bit last week, I believe, Chase, about just the running backs too. How is the run game looking? Because I'm of the belief that unit and just that attack in general, the rushing attack, needs to be very, very, very good for Tennessee to even get close to what its ceiling is this season. With all the uncertainty we've heard about, obviously, just talked about QB1. Who's that going to be? Who's the passing? Who's going to step up to being the wide receiver? And then I feel like another thing I'm just curious about, and we haven't even really spoke about this at all, the pass rush also. Like who's going to be the guy on the defensive line that kind of takes a step up? And that's not exactly, I guess, how I'd label it heading into tomorrow about what I'm most curious about, but just how's that room going to look in general against, some reports, some rumblings out of the first scrimmage was that the offensive line wasn't doing as hot as they would like the offensive line to do, especially kind of on the right side. So is the pass rush, is someone on the defensive line going to kind of say, hey, I'm here. Like this is going to be my season to take a step, and I'm going to be the guy that takes up for James Pierce and Omar Norman-Watt and all those other guys. Is that's a sneaky important thing. If you can't rush the quarterback, especially in the SEC, like not even sneaky important, it's an important thing. If you can't rush the quarterback in the SEC, you're going to be in some trouble, and it's going to make stuff tougher for the secondary, and it's just going to make defense. I feel like that's where it starts, right? If you can't get a pass rush, it's going to be tough.
Absolutely. When we come back, we'll talk to old friend, Believe in Steelers host and Sporting News NFL writer Jarrett Bailey to talk some Steelers, Titans, NFL as a whole. Stick with us. It's The Chase right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app.
Take Fan Run Radio with you on the all-new Fan Run app. Just search for Fan Run Radio wherever you download your apps.
Only 2 more homestands to see your Knoxville Smokies in action. Join us next week for All-You-Can-Eat Wednesday, Titans Night on Thursday, with a chance to win tickets to an upcoming Titans game and autographed jersey. UT Night on Saturday with a free Dylan Sampson bobblehead giveaway, and fireworks both Friday and Saturday night. Don't miss your final chances to see your Smokies play in the brand new Covenant Health Park. Get your tickets now at smokiesbaseball.com.
Rickard Ridge Barbecue, located in beautiful Cove Lake State Park. Rickard Ridge is home of the best ribs in the volunteer state. Smoked daily by pitmaster Mark Rickard. The barbecue at Rickard Ridge is mouth-watering, fall-off-the-bone delicious. Take the scenic drive up I-75 to exit 134. For directions and to look at the rest of the menu, visit Rickard Ridge online at rickardridgebbq.com.
Believe in family. Believe in your fellow man. Believe in honesty and an honest day's work. We do. We're Farm Bureau Insurance. And we don't just believe in Tennessee. We believe in Tennesseans. Farm Bureau Insurance. Tennessee's insurance company.
This is Baseball VFL Cody Brown. Farm Bureau Insurance is the official insurance for Tennesseans. Believe in me for all of your insurance needs. Give me a call at 865-992-3871.
We make it easy to save money. Get access to thousands of discounts on shopping, dining, and travel with the CNB Plus Perks account. It's a powerful new way to save money with roadside assistance, cell phone protection, identity theft protection, and credit monitoring. Banking at CNB has its perks. Call or stop by a branch for more details.
Citizens National Bank. Banking never felt so good.
Member FDIC.
Ready to launch your career? Axle Logistics is a leading third-party logistics company where excellence is an energy. With an award-winning culture, Axle proves that positive outcomes come from a positive environment and a work hard, play hard mentality. At Axle, the drive for success is infectious. And with an uncapped commission structure, hard work isn't just noticed, it's rewarded. For those with big goals and even bigger dreams, Axle Logistics is the place to start your career.
What are you going to do with your old car? You can try selling it, you could junk it, or you can donate it to Heritage for the Blind. Your car will be towed away for free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-639-8620. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats. It doesn't matter if your vehicle runs or not. It'll be towed away for free, and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a nonprofit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car. And as a special thank you for calling, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to many exciting locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now. Call 1-800-639-8620. Donating is easy, and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher. Call now, 1-800-639-8620. That's 1-800-639-8620.
Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app. On the line right now, old friend, NFL super friend, Jarrett Bailey of Believe in Steelers and Sporting News NFL and everywhere else. He's all over the internet covering the NFL and the Steelers as a whole. Jarrett, good afternoon, my friend. How are you? Is Jarrett there? Jarrett, are you on the line right now?
Yes, can you hear me?
Oh, there he is. There's Jarrett Bailey.
How are you, buddy?
I'm good, man. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm glad that those brief technical difficulties seem to be done. But yes, no, I'm good. There's games on, and we're back in full swing. Not quite regular season yet, but yeah, we have football to talk about, which is exciting.
Absolutely. And the first thing I got to pick your brain on here. Is this Aaron Rodgers thing going to work out in Pittsburgh based on what you've seen here in fall camp thus far?
I think it depends on what your definition of workout is. Do I think that they'll be competitive and probably be a playoff team again? Yeah. Would I put them in the Super Bowl bubble before I see what it looks like in the regular season? No. This is a team, and I've said it on every radio, TV, podcast spot I've done. We do this thing every year. I shouldn't say we. A lot of people do this thing every year where it's just this never-ending cycle where it's like, all right, this is going to be the year that the Steelers stink and, go 6-11, and then they win 10 games no matter who's out there. And then we start the process all over again. And, it was the team that won 10 games with Mitch Trubisky, Kenny Pickett, and Mason Rudolph 2 years ago. They're better on both sides of the ball. They're better coached on both sides of the ball. And I'm supposed to believe that now this is going to be the year that actually they take that big step backwards. So I just don't buy that. What I've seen thus far, at the beginning of camp, obviously the offense is a little bit clunky, which is what I expected as it went on, especially in this last week. It got better, and Aaron's looked a little bit better. So I think that it'll work out to the extent of they can win 10, 11 games, get a wild card spot, depending on what the rest of the division does. I don't think that there's a 0% chance that they win the AFC North. And if they can get that 11th win, they'll have a more favorable playoff opponent, and maybe they can win a playoff game. But I would have to see what it looks like for, the first month and a half or so on the field before I can, put them in a tier greater than that.
The star of Steelers training camp thus far has been who?
Oh, that's a good question. Caleb Johnson was very fun at Latrobe. It felt like every day he was breaking off a big explosive run. There's been a few undrafted receivers that have all been competing for a legitimate roster spot. Rock Taylor out of Memphis has been very good. Keyshawn Williams, Max Hurlman, who's a really great story, started his career at Colgate and then went to Notre Dame, was their kick returner. He had a really good camp. But overall, the biggest name who's had a great camp was Jalen Ramsey. From day one, people were wondering, all right, what are they going to do in terms of his usage? And then the first set of team drills, he started off at nickel, they moved him outside, and they played him at safety. So it was pretty clear from the jump they're going to play him everywhere and try to keep all of their stars on the field at the same time. Which means that you'll see Jalen Ramsey, Joey Porter, Darius Slay, Deshaun Elliott, everybody that is an impact player in the secondary for them. They want to ensure that they get as much reps together and that they're on the field together as often as possible. So he has been tremendous this process and looks every bit as good as, the Jalen Ramsey that was an all-pro multiple times in his career. So, take it with a grain of salt. I get that. It's August football. They weren't in pads every day. But seeing what I saw from him, these past few weeks, he's a guy that I have a lot of faith in, and I'm very excited to see what it looks like come September.
Hey, Jarrett, this is Ethan Stone. Appreciate you coming on. I heard you talk about Caleb Johnson a little bit earlier. Just kind of want to pick your brain a little bit. How do you think he's going to fit in to this team? What do you expect his usage to be moving forward in his rookie season?
Yeah, for some reason, there's been this brief freak out when it comes to Caleb Johnson. I think it's in large part due because there was a screenshot that made its round on Twitter and whatnot of him not running through the right lane. It was a pretty open lane. He kind of missed it. And everybody is just assuming, oh no, bad ball carrier vision, similar issue that Najee Harris had. But it was his first taste of NFL action in a preseason game. Everything that I saw in Latrobe from him tells a much better picture than what one run in a preseason game in his first NFL action says. Every padded practice that I was at and saw, he, like I said, had at least one big run where it was evident, okay, there's something here. There was one where he busted a run to the outside, got more yards than he had any business getting, got knocked out of bounds, and Deshaun Elliott, the safety, came over and was vocally praising him, gave him a tap on the helmet. The team clearly believes that they have a guy there. So I don't know where this doom and gloom Caleb Johnson stuff came from all of a sudden from Steelers fans and whatnot, but he's looked really good this summer, and I would expect his work rate to start off a little bit slow just because Jalen Warren's going to be the one to start the year. But by week 17, that's going to be, in my opinion, close to a 50-50 workload. And then by next year, I would expect him to be RB1 going into 2026.
Hey, Jarrett, this is Garrett. Thanks for coming on. I know, obviously, just talking about Caleb Johnson, you'll have another Hawkeye from Iowa on the defensive side of the ball with Y.A. Black. How impressive has he been so far in camp and in the preseason? I know a lot of people have kind of been talking about how he's been impressing people, and what do you see for him this season?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at his preseason tape from the game against Jacksonville, I mean, he was very good. During camp, like there were flashes of him like looking like a really good rotational piece. If he looks as good as he did against Jacksonville when they played Tampa this week, I think that we're talking about Y.A. Black being an even bigger part of the rotation than a lot of people originally anticipated. During camp and whatnot, I had a few plays where, he would get off a block and get into the backfield, got his hands on a few passes at the line of scrimmage. So could end up being a guy that we look back on and say, all right, a day 3 pick that the Steelers spent on Y.A. Black ended up being something that, was somewhat of a steal. You look at the rest of that defensive line, it certainly helps when, there's going to be times where he's playing next to Cam Hayward, and that's going to help, or playing next to fellow rookie Derek Harmon, and, obviously TJ Watt and Nick Herbig, Alex Highsmith off the edge. So it's not as if he's going to take all the attention himself, and that's going to free up opportunities for him. So everything that I've seen over the past few weeks from him, and then in the first preseason game, the arrow's pointing up for Y.A. Black.
One of the things I'm really curious about when it comes to the Titans here, Jarrett, are you more bullish the receivers are going to be okay with Calvin Ridley and company, even with some depth issues, or is it at running back that you think they're going to be okay with their depth issues? Which way do you lean more right now?
I like the receivers a bit more. Elick Amanor is a guy that I was hoping that my Steelers would take. They did not. Big guy out of Stanford who is a guy who can easily be, a red zone target where you just throw up a fade and, his height will take care of the rest. Run blocks his butt off. Is good after the catch. So he's a guy that I was pretty bullish on coming into the draft process, and seeing him go round 4 was a little bit shocking to me. So I think receiver-wise, they're a little bit better and deeper. Tyjae Spears obviously had that injury, which I can't remember the exact timeline that they put on it. It didn't sound like anything like severe. But I think that they're a bit deeper at receiver. Bringing in Tyler Lockett as a veteran presence, we'll see what he still has to give. Van Jefferson. I think that their top 2 guys are going to be Calvin Ridley and then Elick Amanor. And then we'll see what the other 2 veterans have to offer. But I think Amanor does a little bit more of the heavy lifting in terms of the receiver position. When you look at the running back spot, Tony Pollard's going to be, the top guy, I would assume. And then we'll see with Tyjae Spears, a guy who they drafted a couple years ago out of Tulane, how effective he can be this season. So I would lean receiver, but I think the higher upside would be with the running back room.
Hey, Jarrett, this is Jay. Going back over to the Steelers, I've been seeing a lot of buzz about Calvin Austin being the number 2 guy behind DK Metcalf. How has he been looking in practice?
Well, he hasn't been practicing over the last week or so that's kind of been a concern for Steelers fans. Mike Tomlin talked about it a couple of days ago in terms of the severity of it. It's more of just don't want to rush him back type of thing. They know what he can provide. I would still pencil in terms of what the alignment's going to look like. Throughout camp and even in the preseason, when they were in 11 personnel, the receivers were DK Metcalf on the outside, Calvin Austin in the slot, and then Roman Wilson on the outside opposite of Metcalf. So I don't think that he's just not big enough to be a perimeter guy, but in the slot, he can be someone who makes a difference. And, I think last year he showed what he's capable of when given the ample opportunity. But, I mean, when you're a 5'7" receiver, there's only so much you can do on the boundary. I think he's much better suited in the slot, and that's where they'll predominantly use him this year. In terms of what they're going to do on the outside, though, Roman Wilson's had a pretty solid camp. And the first pass that Mason Rudolph threw in the first preseason game was a 19-yard en route to Roman Wilson. So I think that they have belief in him, but Omar Khan didn't rule out going out and trying to get somebody else. So if they can get, a noteworthy name, I wouldn't rule that out. But in terms of what Austin's going to be, he'll be the slot guy and he'll have his opportunities. But I would expect them to try to bring in somebody else to put on the outside, especially if they're not quite sold on Roman Wilson being that number 2 yet.
One of the things I'm also curious about here, Jarrett, as a NFL ball knower, certified ball knower here, I'm curious, coordinator hires this offseason. What do you think we'll be looking at this time next year? Like, man, this team really nailed this offensive or defensive coordinator hire this cycle.
Oh, that's good. Well, I think Tanner Angstrom with the Jets is going to have a big prove-it type of year to see what they can do with Justin Fields. Okay, they're going to try to like Jared Goffify him and not lean into his legs, or are they going to say, no, like if your first couple reads aren't there, they're not covering you, take off. And we saw a little bit of that in the first preseason game where, Justin ran for the touchdown. Like we know that is his biggest strength is his legs. But we saw it last year in Pittsburgh where they weren't really leaning too much into that, which I think hampered them a little bit. Like, obviously, we know Justin Fields isn't going to turn into Patrick Mahomes overnight and just, develop this elite level arm talent where, as well as a high football IQ when it comes to reading defenses, which has kind of been his biggest weakness thus far, is just getting through his progressions and reading a defense just a little bit too slow. Use his legs. And then if it doesn't work out that he's not your franchise guy, whoever you draft or bring in to do that next, I think that if they can win 7-8 games and the offense looks good, I think there's going to be a belief in Tanner Angstrom to be like, okay, he did this and we know what he's capable of from being in Detroit under Ben Johnson to do a different type of thing as well. So I think it's a big year for the Jets in terms of just laying a foundation, but also for their coaches to show that they aren't just placeholders for another group to come in. So that's one that I'll be curious to see how it looks. I'm just trying to think elsewhere what certain things could look like. I think defensively for the Bears, maybe. I think overall for the Bears, we saw what a mess they were last year. Not just for Ben Johnson having a big year, but offensively, defensively, can they be not a tire fire? can they be competitive and help Caleb Williams progress after what was a good rookie year that didn't get a ton of attention because Jaden Daniels played so well and the Bears just weren't a very good team. So again, those are two ones that I'm monitoring, but yeah, the Jets are particularly interesting to me. I'm a Justin Fields guy. I don't think he's going to be a superstar or anything, but I'm excited to see what he looks like in that offense and how they go about utilizing him.
We'll get you out on this, Jarrett. I'm not advocating people losing their jobs here, but it is an interesting conversation to think about. Who is the first coach fired this NFL season in your estimation?
I think I'll go with I don't know if it's like a crazy pick anymore, but the Dolphins just scream bad vibes to me. And Mike McDaniel, like every time I see him on camera, just looks more and more miserable. That thing peaked a couple years ago when, they went to Arrowhead and got humiliated. Like that was the peak of this Dolphins experience. Is like, that's cool, man. You can put up a bunch of points and run all over teams when you're in Miami and it's 95 degrees. It's a shame for them that when there's a slight breeze in the air or a drizzle, none of that matters. And when you have to go to Kansas City or Cincinnati or Baltimore or Pittsburgh or Buffalo to win games in January and you can't play in the cold, like, I don't know what to tell you, man. And like all the veterans that after they've left have just said bad things about the Dolphins and the culture there. Like, I think that this thing's going to come to a crashing halt. And like, if they start off slow, like let's say they're like 1-4, 1-5, why not just cut bait there, fire Mike McDaniel, trade Tyreek Hill, and just gear up for a rebuild in 2026. So I think it's very possible. I think Brian Dable's another name you can maybe throw in there, but they did just draft a quarterback, so I think he bought himself a little bit more time. So that's why I would lean McDaniel here. The big collapse of the Dolphins that's happened over the last 18 months or so is I feel like it's going to come to a crashing end.
That's sad. Mike McDaniel seems like a good hang. Great story.
I'm going to push back on that, Chase. I'm annoyed. I find him incredibly annoying.
No.
And I'm totally okay saying that. I'm over the whole, like, okay, dude, we get it. You wear Yeezys and you vape. So does every dude who's late for his 8 a.m. geology class. Like, go win a game that matters. I don't care. So, yeah, I find it to be very annoying. And I don't want him to lose his job or anything like that. But, like, I'm over the whole Mike McDaniel shtick, and I'm totally fine admitting that.
You hide it well, Jerry Bailey.
I know. I'm very I know I'm very good at hiding my emotions.
That's why we love having you on this very program and why you're an OG Chase Thomas podcast guy, NFL super friend, and we appreciate you spending part of your day here on The Chase. Jarrett, what can the good folks check out from you all across the internet this week?
Yeah, a lot of stuff. From my Substack, I have an interview dropping with Giants wide receiver Jalen Hyatt, so you can check that out.
I have heard of him.
Yes.
Yeah. Big Tennessee legend.
Exactly. So that'll be maybe something for your listeners to check out on the Snap. It's jbailey.nfl.substack.com. That will be dropping later today. And then Lindsay Rhodes of Sumer Sports is coming on the Pump Fake, so that will be dropping later today as well. So it'll be a lot of fun. And then I did a big write-up on James Cook and why he's incredibly valuable to the Bills and why paying him made a lot of sense. That's over on the Sporting News right now.
There you go. Jarrett Bailey, always a pleasure, my friend, and we'll have to check back again very soon.
Absolutely, buddy. Take care.
Jarrett Bailey, one of the best covering the Steelers and the NFL as a whole for Sporting News. When we come back, we'll connect with G6 Garrett, Boise State. Are they going back-to-back in the 12-team CFP model? And if it's not the Broncos in 2025, who do we think might be the team that crashes the party on the G6 circuit? We'll discuss when we come back right here on The Chase. It's The Chase Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app.
You're listening to Fan Run Radio, the sports humans.
Yeah, it's another day, but what kind of day is it really? A day of doom scrolling? Laundry day? Nah, it's a White Claw day. Light and refreshing tasting, uniquely cold way filtered. There's an iconic flavor for everyone. So grab a pack, grab your friends. Make the most of each day with those who matter most. When you're together with White Claw, every day is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. You just gotta grab it. White Claw. Grab life by the claw. Please drink responsibly. Hard seltzer with flavors. White Claw Seltzer Works, Chicago, Illinois.
Got a flat tire? Strange noise under the hood? Don't stress. Roll into Matlock Tire and Auto Service. From oil changes and brake repairs to brand new tires, Matlock's certified techs do it all. Fast, friendly, and fair priced, Matlock is the home of the price match guarantee. Bring in any competitor's ad and Matlock will match the exact same tire for the exact same price. Matlock Tire and Auto Service. 5 locations in East Tennessee. Visit matlocktireservice.com to find the location nearest you and schedule your appointment.
Okay, so we really need uniforms and equipment for this season. Can I trust you with that? Cool, I'll just order them online. What? Yeah, I'm going to hop online and I'm going to get them ordered. Hold up, that's not a good idea. We shouldn't just spend money on some random online retailer, okay? I mean, it seems pretty convenient. Trust me, it's a terrible idea. Let me simplify this for you. SM Athletics. Okay, how do you pronounce it? SM Athletics? They're the go-to for uniforms and equipment, whether it's for universities, high schools, youth leagues, you name it. So why wouldn't you rather go with professionals who can guide us through the process, design the perfect uniforms, and deliver the best equipment? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. What's the name again? SM Athletics. Right. It's definitely smarter to go with a company that emphasizes customer service, fair pricing, and, of course, excellent products. Exactly. So, yeah, I guess it's settled then. For uniforms and equipment for all sports, it's SM Athletics.
I was afraid to cut the cord, but once I did, I couldn't believe it took so long to do it. Paying too much for my cable bill had become a bad habit. I either wasn't getting what I wanted or never knew where to find any of my favorite shows until it was too late. Plus, the prices just kept going up. Thankfully, I discovered a new way to watch called Philo. For just $25 a month, I can catch all my favorite shows on networks like BET, MTV, and TLC. It even has Nickelodeon for my kids. I can watch anytime I want, anywhere I want. Plus, Philo lets me have up to 3 streams at once, so everyone can watch what they want at the same time. Throw in the unlimited DVR that saves all my favorites for up to a year, and this really is the best deal in TV. I just wish I hadn't waited so long. Sound too good to be true? Well, try it out for yourself, and you'll see why people who love TV love Philo. Go to philo.tv, that's philo.tv, and start your 7-day free trial now.
It's The Chase right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app. You can call or text us at 865-966-3435 is the way to be a part of the show with Ethan Stone of Saturday Down South in studio with us on a Thursday. 865-966-3435 is the way to get involved. As we check in with G6 Garrett with the Boise State Broncos here, Garrett, we're going to spin this deep dive on the Broncos here with Spencer Danielson going into kind of year 3 because he coached a little bit down the stretch 2 years ago. So it's kind of 2.5, I guess is probably the best way of describing it, but won a whole heck of a lot of football games coming in for Andy Avalos. And they obviously pushed, I think it's fair to say they really pushed Penn State in the college football playoff last year, but a lot of questions. Will they be able to run it back? Will they be able to get back to the CFP without Ashton Jeanty? But they have another talented tailback. Like maybe not Ashton Jeanty talented, but Boise State right now, the early favorite to go back-to-back and making the CFP. Let's dive into what your expectations are for Boise. Where do things look like going into Spencer Danielson's new season for the Pac-12 Broncos in 2026 and beyond?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm really high on them again this year. I think they're probably going to go 11-1. I think their lone loss will probably come to Notre Dame. They play UNLV this year, which was the hardest regular season game that they played last year against a G5 opponent. It was in Vegas last year. They get it in Boise this year. Like all of their games that I feel like App State, they play in Boise. Like they should be able to win that. I think I'm going to give them the loss to Notre Dame, but I think they'll play them tough. UNLV is at home. Fresno State is at home. Colorado State is at home. Like the main Mountain West contenders they get in Boise. Now they do play South Florida week 1. I think that'll be an interesting game. Boise opened as like a 10-point favorite. USF's a really good team. I think they're going to contend in the American. The line's now at like 5.5. I think that's way too generous. I think Boise State still wins by between a touchdown and double digits, somewhere in there. But no, I mean, it's a deep team. I mean, as you said, they lose Ashton Jeanty. That doesn't really concern me. They still bring back an extremely deep running back room. They have Malik Sherrod, who was at Fresno State. They have Breezy Dubar, and then they have Sire Gaines. Sire Gaines if Sire Gaines didn't get injured last year against, I believe he got injured in the Oregon game, and he missed basically the entire season. Ashton Jeanty would not have gotten the feeds that he got the entire year. Ashton Jeanty still would have been the number 1 running back on their team. He would not have rushed for 2,500 yards last year, though. Sire Gaines had 100 rushing yards against Georgia Southern week 1. He has the capability to be the best running back in the group of 5 this year and probably a top 10, 15 running back in all of college football if he plays to his complete potential. Maddox Masden is back. Very good quarterback. Threw for 20-plus touchdowns last year. I think a lot of people just think that they just have a run game. Their pass game is going to be good this year. I mean, they returned one of the best tight ends in the country in Matt Lauder. They have Latrell Caples, who was severely underappreciated last year. He had some big receptions in the playoff game and the game against Oregon early in the season. Chris Marshall was a guy that they didn't really use last year very much, but he's going to be a guy that's going to be in the wide receiver rotation that's going to be really good. And they returned probably 2 NFL offensive linemen, which is very beneficial. And then on the defensive side of the ball, I mean, you have Jaden Virgin Morgan coming back on the edge. He had 10 sacks last year, 20 solo tackles. He's incredible. Devon Banks, very good. And then they went out and got Deion Washington and Jaden McKee in the transfer portal. This team's going to be just fine. I mean, I guess their floor, I could see them losing maybe 2 games, going 10-2. But, I mean, for me to not say that they make the college football playoff as the G5 team, I have to see another G5 team beat them. Until someone beats them, I'm just going to say that they're the team that makes it. Now, I mean, Tulane has a chance. I think Tulane and Navy are the 2 best teams in the American. I think you're not going to see a Conference USA or a MAC team make it as the G5 team unless a lot of stuff went incredibly off the rails for the AAC, Sun Belt, or Mountain West. But I think Boise State and Tulane and Navy are probably your 3 best options, but I'm still going to lean Boise State here.
Boise State, the highest ranked G5 in S&P Plus final preseason rankings from Bill Connolly, does a great job for ESPN. You forget, like he's projecting 14th offense, 54th defense for Boise, the top G5 school there. The next closest, as you mentioned, Tulane at 45th. And then a little bit further down is Memphis at 52nd. Memphis projected to have the 21st best offense in college football this year.
That'll be an interesting team.
Yeah.
Especially with the quarterback. I mean, they have Brandon Lewis as their quarterback, started his career at Colorado, went to Nevada last year. No one watched Nevada last year. he was a good dual threat quarterback. No one just knew who he was. They got A.J. Hill, who came in, who was a 4-star prospect, committed to Memphis over some SEC schools. Everyone thought A.J. Hill might start. Ended up being Brendan Lewis, dual threat guy. We'll see what they can do.
I'm selling Boise as the G5 representative stock this year, though. I don't know if you're with me here, Ethan, but this schedule is not great, I don't think, for Boise. They go to South Florida out of the gate. And I think South Florida, Alex Golish, he's on a lot of Power 4 head coaching boards, depending on how this year goes for South Florida. I don't love that spot for Boise in the opener.
South Florida, though, is under, they haven't, and again, they're going to be a much better team. Their quarterback is back. He's very good. They've been hyped up the past 2 off seasons and won a combined 14 games over the past 2 years.
Right, but Byron Brown back. We'll see. I don't know. It's a big year for Golish and the Bulls, and they're going to be motivated out of the gate. And it's a Thursday night. Here.
It is an odd time, 5:30.
Yeah.
That is one game I could see them being upset in. I will say that it could happen, but I'm still giving them the win.
At Air Force, 2 weeks later, I'm a big Troy Calhoun guy. Air Force, kind of a step back last year, but I think by all accounts, they're expected to bounce back in a big way for Calhoun and the Falcons. At Notre Dame, obviously that's kind of their Oregon spot last year where they lost Oregon, didn't end up upending them in their G5 race. They get UNLV at home, which is important because I think UNLV will be really good again. We'll see how different things look with with Dan Mullen entering the fold here, but maybe San Diego State, depending on how hard you squint on the road with Sean Lewis and his offense, is he able to do some stuff this year with the Aztecs? Because they've been it has not gone as great as I thought it would with Sean Lewis, who was really good at, if y'all remember, Sean Lewis was the offensive coordinator at Kent State and head coach / offensive coordinator at Kent State when they had the #1 offense in college football in 2021. So great offensive mind. It just hasn't really worked yet. And then there was that weird midseason firing from Colorado, Dion's first year, and they go to Schumer, and he ends up at San Diego State. So I don't know. I'm not selling any Sean Lewis stock, so I'm curious what the Aztecs look like down the stretch. Ethan, do you have a team outside of Boise making the G5? Who is your best bet right now?
I think Boise's a good bet. I think my favorite, just because Boise's losing Genty, I think that's such a massive loss. And I think he was not all of their offense by any means, but I mean, he was certainly a lot of it. My pick is Tulane. I like Jake Retzlaff. I watched a lot of him at BYU. I think he's going to be a lot of fun at Tulane. I think their schedule makes a lot of sense for it. They play Northwestern and Duke. I think both of those are winnable games for Tulane. They get Duke at home. They obviously get, Darian Mensah just left for Duke, so they've got a little bit of a rivalry thing going on there, I guess. And then they go to Ole Miss as well, and I think that is comparable to Boise State and Notre Dame. I think that's probably going to be one that Tulane loses, but it's a great schedule because if they win it, then that's a pretty fantastic win for a G5 team saying, hey, this is my resume to go to the college football playoff here. And then they also play Memphis later in the season. And
on the road.
On the road. That is definitely going to be tough. I think that's the most unfortunate part of how Tulane's schedule works out. And obviously Memphis is another one, right? They could be right there. Whoever wins the AAC, that's going to be a good pick. But I like the Green Wave. I think they got a lot going on this year, and I think the schedule is favorable for it.
Garrett, I mean, could you see Tulane at Memphis being a CFP playing game on November 7th?
I think it's a play-out game. I think if you lose, you're out, but I don't think both teams are going to be in the situation where if they win, I don't foresee both teams being one-loss teams going into that game. I mean, it could happen. Memphis plays Arkansas early in the season. I think Memphis can beat Arkansas. Arkansas is not going to be anything special this year.
Yeah.
But again, it's AAC line of scrimmage versus SEC line of scrimmage. But I definitely think Memphis can win that game. As he said, Tulane plays Northwestern. I think Tulane can beat Northwestern. Northwestern's going to be interesting. They have Preston Stone at quarterback. They have Griffin Wild as a wide receiver who's an elite FCS wide receiver at South Dakota State. Like he said, they're going to play Duke. That's going to be – I think Duke is severely undervalued this year. They have one of the best – they probably have the second best defense in the ACC behind Clemson. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Duke wins that game. So if they lose that game and the Ole Miss game, you can't have any more blemishes at that point if you're Tulane. But their defense is going to be really good. They bring in Mo Westmoreland from UTEP. They bring in Santana Hopper, who was at App State. And then, like you said, they have Retzcliffe at quarterback. And then they got Omari Hayes, a wide receiver who came in from FAU. He was really good. Trey Shackelford, Shaz Preston. It's a really good on both sides of the ball. I just, for me personally, feel like Boise is just a little bit leg up. Just the line of scrimmage of Boise, they have NFL talent on both lines of scrimmage. That's why I have Boise ahead of Tulane.
I just love the Memphis schedule too. Memphis has a fantastic. I mean, they've got a really. I mean, it's going to be really different at quarterback, and you need Lewis to hit in a big way for them. But they have the talent. Like Memphis is spending. They're spending that FedEx money. And they're trying to get into one of the Power 4 schools, with the Big 12 and ACC and all that. Like, we'll see what ultimately happens with Memphis and if they're able to get out of the AAC. But I love the schedule for Memphis because, like you said, Garrett, they get Arkansas at home. They get South Florida at home. Their road games are at UAB, at Rice. Rice is running the triple, folks. I don't know if y'all know this or not, but Rice hired a level guy. So they're thinking outside the box there, which I love. Like but I think that's going to be a transition.
We need more triple offenses in college football.
100%. I mean, and then you have Trey Lamb at Tulsa, who obviously won big at ETSU this past year. We'll see how quick.
If I can add something real quick, kind of going through that schedule because I'm looking at it. The FAU game, by no means is FAU the better. Like Memphis is the better team, 100%.
Yeah.
FAU is going to throw the ball around down there. Zach Kitley is their coach, offensive-minded guy. Veltkamp comes down there. They have Messer at wide receiver, who is one of the best G5 wide receivers. They're going to throw the ball around. They're going to score points down there. Memphis's defense over the past couple of years has been what has been the problem. They gave up 40-plus points to Navy last year. They gave up a ton of points to UTSA last year. Now, whether that was because UTSA maybe knew the plays or not, but still, they gave up way too many points in a lot of games. And going down to FAU, it's early in the season. They're going to be throwing the ball around. That's not a game where you can give up 30 points, 40 points, and expect to win the game. You got to win that game at the line of scrimmage. You're the better team. But that's a sneaky game if your defense doesn't come out to play because FAU is going to score points.
We were talking about a potential play-in game for the G5 with Tulane and Memphis earlier. I think an even better bet for that is Memphis Navy at the end of the season.
I think Navy.
Blake Horvath, very, very good quarterback, and obviously Navy has to go to Memphis, so that helps what you were saying, Chase, that they've got a very favorable schedule.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine? I think that's one of the wild card ones that I'm rooting for because if you get Navy, not just because my dad is a Marine, so I'm always impartial to Navy, but I do think Navy getting in with Horvath and company, that's a brutal scenario for one of these playoff teams, one of these Power 2 schools who are like, I don't want to have to prep for Navy here over the next couple weeks because Navy is just annoying. Like it's one of those offenses. I mean,
It's different, but it's not like Army where they're running it every single time. Like Dwayne Coleman at Army this year is going to have their quarterback and he's going to be asked to do what they did last year.
Right.
Navy's a little different. They'll throw the ball a little. I mean, they threw the ball a pretty good amount last year. They have wide receivers. Alex Teska is very good. Landon Robinson up front is very good. Like they have a lot of really good players, but they don't run like just straight up triple option the entire game. They run variations where they have the fullback and they have one wide receiver on the field at times and stuff like that, but it's not full triple option the entire game.
What would be the funniest Navy upset in round one? Because we're doing the straight seeding here, 1 through 12, and G5's getting number 12. Like there's going to be a reckoning for last year in Boise getting one of those. Like Boise hosting a playoff game is one of those things where you can, or getting the bye, whatever, is going to be one of those things where there's going to be a reckoning on the flip side here. So they're going to put whoever the G5 school is at number 12. Who would be the funniest upset of Navy just with that offense and just putting somebody in the grinder? I mean, it's probably Texas, right? If Texas got knocked out by Navy in an all-time upset, that'd be fantastic.
I think Texas is pretty funny. I think not necessarily from how they played, just the optics standpoint. And for what it's worth, I do not think this is going to happen because I think they're the number 1 team in the country heading into the season. Penn State would be absolutely hilarious.
I was going to
Penn State really would be.
State
James
would be
Franklin
so
going
fun.
down to Navy as a 5 seed would just be.
The thing that concerns me about Navy is like what they did to Oklahoma was really impressive in the bowl game, but then at the same time, like when they played a playoff team in Notre Dame, they got ran out of the stadium.
Yeah.
And that just concerns me that like, is their offense kind of predictable when you watch it on film for what they've done for 12 games, 13 games. Well, it'll be 13 by that point because they'll play the Army-Navy game, AAC championship game. Their playoff game would actually be their 13th game of this. Well, playoff game would be 14th game of the season. You have a lot of film on them. You kind of know what they're going to do. They're going to run the quarterback a lot. Running backs I just feel like they could just basically crash the line of scrimmage on every play almost. at a big school. But Navy's strong up front. I mean, they have a lot of guys, but I mean, a lot of those players, I mean, the reason why those military schools run the triple option is because they're undersized. And that's the reason why they do it. And that concerns me in a playoff game when you play against 5-star offensive and defensive tackles the entire game going up against you. Again, I think Navy's really good. I hope they have a great year. And I think it would be incredible to see Navy make the playoff. That would be awesome to see a service academy make the playoffs. I'm super excited to watch them. But that just, to me, that's why them upsetting a team in the playoff would be, I think, less likely than Boise State or Tulane upsetting a team in the playoff just because of the offense that they run.
When we come back to kick off our number 2, we're going to have GoVols247's Ben McKee to talk a whole lot of Tennessee football, basketball, and baseball. He covers it all, GoVols247. So we'll talk with Ben McKee here at the top of our number 2. Stick with us. It's The Chase right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app.
The flagship station.
Vehicles electric, the feeling all Mercedes, the choice all yours. Test drive a Mercedes-Benz electric today at your local dealer or learn more at mbusa.com/EQ.
Yee-haw! I've been hooting and hollering ever since I started betting with the VIP Play app. VIP Play has more than 200 leagues, every bet type you can imagine, live betting and live hosts, all with 24/7 support from real live people when you need them. Start betting better with the VIP Play app today.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Make sure you use the promo code FANRUN to take advantage of their welcome bonus and so they know that we sent you. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-8899-789. Must be 21 or older and located in Tennessee to bet.
Hey Knoxville! Surfside iced tea and vodka made with real brewed tea is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar with no bubbles and no troubles. That's right, zero carbonation, so it's easy to sip and enjoy. Headed to a game day or party at a friend's house? Bring an iced tea or lemonade variety pack from Surfside or try their green tea and new raspberry tea vodka. Find the can with the sunset stripes this season. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sold at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sunshine in a can. Must be 21 or older. Enjoy responsibly.
Located in Knoxville's historic Old City, Barley's offers great food, live music, the best draft beer selection in town, and now your new favorite place to watch sports. Their indoor projector is perfect for any weather, and they've revamped their upstairs area with more TVs to take in all of the action. Their menu features hand-battered chicken tenders, juicy burgers, fresh salads, and the tastiest pizza in Knoxville. You can enjoy their happy hour drink specials daily from open until 6 p.m. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
It's Chase right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app. Here at the top of hour number 2, we're going to be talking to Ben McKee of GoVols247 to talk all things Tennessee football, baseball, and basketball. So we'll get Ben on here in just a second. But before we get Ben on here, one of the things I'm also curious about, your perspective, Ethan Stone, the Adidas deal. Now that you've had a day to sit with it, do you feel better about the Adidas deal, reading more on it, and what you think about how Tennessee is going to ultimately, I will be careful how I phrase this, how they're ultimately going to thrive with this deal, because it does feel like it's a net positive in a bunch of different ways, right?
Yeah, I'm going to echo what Mike Matthews said, and it's just that it's obvious that Adidas is prioritizing Tennessee, and I think that's a win. They're going to make Tennessee their equivalent of Nike's equivalent to Oregon or Notre Dame to Under Armour. Like, if Tennessee is that to Adidas, I think that's a major win. And to be totally honest with you, when the news first came out, I didn't have much of a thought about it. Like, win football games. I don't care too much what you look like. Win football games. I think a lot of listeners, a lot of people around East Tennessee would agree with that.
Absolutely. Well, we've got Ben McKee of GoVols247 on the line right now. Ben, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. How are y'all?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Has the calm after the storm of the Adidas announcement happened for you over at GoVols247 Sports?
I don't know that it's calmed down.
Yeah.
It's still a pretty hot topic, but I feel like because this all kind of trickled out over the last several months as Tennessee was trying to negotiate and see if Nike was going to negotiate with them. I feel like the reaction was somewhat tame yesterday and today in the aftermath, because it wasn't kind of a sudden shock to the system for Tennessee fans. But there's certainly still plenty of conversation going on about it.
Yeah, and it's just, I feel like it's a net positive. I have a hard time believing it's a negative in any real context. And I know everyone looks at the old uniforms and just what those kind of look like, but it's just, I don't think we're in jeopardy of that. I think Tennessee's got a big say in the creative control and direction. And you're a big baseball guy here, Ben McKee. The 90s baseball uniforms for the Vols, if we get that gray pinstripe, black and orange look, I think Tennessee baseball stands to be huge winners here, because I think you look around college baseball with Adidas uniforms, I think they do those really well. And I think Tennessee's Nike uniforms that they dropped here this past cycle were by and large pretty terrible. And I think you look around, they didn't even use some of the new ones this cycle. So I think that could be a huge win. Are you pretty optimistic that we could see some pretty cool new designs for the baseball front?
Yeah, absolutely. They were already in works for new designs, maybe isn't the right word, but new road jerseys, that traditional baseball gray.
Yes.
That a lot of teams wear. That is set to be worn this upcoming baseball season, unless something has changed that I'm not aware of. But they'll be wearing more traditional road grays that you see baseball teams wear at the professional level and in college as well. So I certainly am optimistic in regards to some pretty cool baseball jerseys. You mentioned the 90s. That's certainly one. I think also back to Chris Burke and his all black Adidas uniform that he was wearing. That's a sweet look. So yeah, it is absolutely a net positive. And I don't even know if it's a net positive. It's just a total positive. I don't see anything wrong with this deal. Just when looking at the whole thing, I am somebody who prefers Nike or Jordan to Adidas. I'm wearing Nike socks right now, Nike shorts, but it was just such a great difference in money that it would have been foolish for Tennessee to not take the deal with Adidas. And I know there are other, like, that's the driving force behind it. And I know Tennessee fans have other concerns, the main one being the jersey, as you mentioned. And I would not be worried about that if I'm a Tennessee fan. Tennessee is going to have total control with their creative team. Last time when they were working with Adidas, it's really the end of their Adidas deals when you saw some mishaps with not the right color orange or just not looking good. But early on, like those, speaking of the late 90s, I mean, Peyton in an Adidas jersey, those jerseys look sweet. The early 2000s, they're just very simple. And that's all it needs to be because you're Tennessee and you're not Oregon. You have kind of one set uniform. and that's that. And I think you're going to see a pretty simplistic look. And the only difference from the current jerseys to next year's jerseys, the plan is for it, the only difference to be the Adidas logo instead of the Nike logo. So there's better leadership in the room as well on both sides that didn't necessarily exist there towards the end of their previous contract, which is why you saw some of the mishaps. Tennessee did not have great leadership then, and Adidas wasn't necessarily putting their best foot forward either. So this time around, both are committed to absolutely being together and thinking along the same lines. And again, Tennessee's going to have full creative control. They'll of course listen to Adidas if they have an idea, and they'll determine if they want to run with it. But I don't blame fans for being worried about what they'll look like because of what some of them look like at the end of the last Adidas deal. But I would be stunned if it happens again. I think it's going to be pretty simplistic, and I think the jerseys are going to look perfectly fine. It'll just be an Adidas logo instead of a Nike logo.
So I think that's going to be the same for the basketball jerseys. I think it's going to still be the traditional Tennessee Volunteers top and bottom rather than some of the designs that they had in the 2000s.
Yeah, I would think so. I haven't gotten an answer on that one, but I would think so, especially knowing Rick Barnes. He is very much simplistic in that regard. Of course, we'll see how much longer Rick coaches, but I think it would be pretty simplistic as well. It will be interesting, though, to your thought, because under this Nike era, the basketball program did bring back those vintage kind of Tennessee Volunteer looks that you were referencing and kind of modernized them. So I'll be curious to see if they continue to roll with those and just slap an Adidas logo on it, or if they'll go back to a more, simplistic, just orange jersey and white jersey, like we kind of saw with, I guess, Bruce Pearl era. I think I like the Bruce Pearl era basketball jerseys more than I did the Conzo Martin, Donnie Tyndall first year of Rick Barnes, just because there are some stripes and patterns within the uniform that I don't necessarily love. But I think if, like I said, with the football uniforms, just going back to the simplistic look from the late 90s and early to mid 2000s, same with the basketball team. Just bring out the Chris Lofton jersey, big, nice letter or number font that I liked. Just a basic orange, Tennessee orange, and basic white. And I'd like to see the black outline come back on the orange jersey. So I'm sure it'll be pretty simplistic, but I'm curious to see if they go with the Tennessee Volunteers retro look that they've used with Nike under Rick.
Speaking of basketball here, I'm putting you on the spot here on August 14th, Ben McKee, but I have to throw this to you. Cade Phillips, he looks slimmer in the summer workouts and everything else, and there's some buzz he might be able to play some three and might see some more shooting from the outside for Cade here in year 3 on Rocky Top. Obviously, one of the leaders and core guys for Rick Barnes going into his 3rd season on Rocky Top, and really found his niche playing stretch 5 because of just the numbers. They won't have to do that a whole lot this season, if at all, because of how much deeper Tennessee is in the front court side of things. Do you see that as a realistic thing for Cade Phillips, and we might see a whole lot more Cade on the wing at the 3 than a lot of folks might expect?
Yes, absolutely. Now, I think he's going to be very versatile and play a number of different positions, and more so on the defensive side of the basketball. I mean, Rick Barnes has publicly said in the past, I believe it was at the beginning of last season, that Cade Phillips can do what Jemai Meshack does. Now, it'll look different because Jemai is shorter and he is more of a true guard, and he's more physical than Cade. But Rick's point is that Cade has the length, the athleticism, the lateral quickness to be able to stay in front of a guard and stay in front of a point guard. I mean, you kind of saw it with Yves Pons. I mean, Cade's game is more similar to Yves than it is Jemai's, just because of the height and the length and the lateral quickness. Of course, Yves Pons is built like a Greek god, and Cade looks really good right now, but he's not built like Yves Pons. Nobody is. So
Peyton
I
Lewis,
think
according to Darrell Sims, Ben McKee.
Yeah, good point. Touche. And Darrell Sims is not wrong. His running back room looks well in the weight room. I'm sure they would enjoy the photos that they could take of themselves. But I think you'll see Cade move around quite a bit, but more so on the defensive side. Now on the offensive side, I absolutely do expect him to take more shots, and it'll just be up to him to make them. And the more he makes, the the greener his light will be. I think that front court overall is going to be able to shoot the basketball if they can prove to Rick early on in the season that they can do it consistently in games. I think they all have nice touch. Jalen Carey has nice touch. JP Estrella, even Felix was stepping out and taking a couple of shots this summer. I don't really see that happening once they get into the thick of the season, but I guess my point is that it didn't look like a foreign concept to Felix to step out and shoot the basketball. And then, of course, Cade. So I think if that front court can prove themselves early in the season, I do think they're going to take more threes than people realize. And I would say that Cade Phillips kind of leads that group of I think he's going to bounce back between the 3 and the 4. Of course, Nate Abment is going to be your starting 3, so that will probably dictate how much Cade plays the 3. But there will certainly be times where he slides over, plays the 3, and I think he'll just kind of bounce back and forth depending on foul trouble, who's available, injury-wise, things of that nature. But I do think that you're going to see him shoot the basketball more. And from what I saw this summer of him shooting the basketball, fans should be really excited about that. He's not Chris Lofton, he's not Chaz Lanier, not Taunton Connect, but he is absolutely capable of shooting it at a nice clip from distance.
I'm not ruling it out that the opening night starting lineup here, Ben, is Nate at the 2, Jacoby at the 1, Cade at the 3, Jalen Carey at the 4, and Felix Akpar at the 5. You know Rick wants to do this so bad. You know it's August 14th, but Rick would love to be able to run this lineup out.
Yeah, that would not be a fun lineup for opponents. That would be I think Jacoby is a sneaky defender.
Yeah.
At the point guard position, and then having that size of Nate and Cade at the 2 and the 3, and then you have the brute force of Jalen Carey on the block, and then arguably the best rim protector in basketball this upcoming season, and Felix Akpar. I mean, that is a heck of a defensive lineup. It would kind of surprise me. I do agree with you. I'm not going to rule it out, but I think that they'll elect to go with more of a true guard at the 2 position. Now, I don't know that they have an ideal starter at that 2 spot, so maybe that brings in your scenario as more realistic than I'm giving it credit for. But I think I'm going to, my projection on August, whatever it is, 14th, I think it'll be Cade at the 4, Nate at the 3, and then probably Eitan Berg at the 2. I think he's the best 2 option, assuming he picks things up pretty quickly, which I would expect for an older guy. And I like Amari Abram. I think he had a nice summer. I think the coaching staff really liked what they got from him. Maybe he's the starter at the 2, but I think he's perfect to bring off the bench and just be a spark plug, an energizer bunny, can knock down open shots from the perimeter, plays great defense, just is attached to the hip of his defender at all times. So Amari Abram could sneak his way into that starting lineup, but I think it'll be Eitan Berg there starting at the 2 next to Jacoby, and then you have Nate at the 3, Cade at the 4, and Felix at the 5.
Hey, Ben, this is Ethan. I was also wondering, you're talking about the front court a little bit, and Jalen Carey and Cade and Felix, obviously, with the intrigue there. I'm wondering, I've heard some buzz about Dwayne Brown. Just how do you look at him? How do you see how he fits into this unit, and how much do you think he'll play this season?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Dwayne Brown. He really impressed this summer. I don't know that he's going to play a ton just because he's going to be a true freshman, and he has 4 guys in front of him. But I do think that there will be a level of comfort to where if he is thrown into the game, he's going to be able to go grab you some rebounds. He has real good touch around the rim. He reminds me of Zach Randolph in that regard of he's not going to jump the highest, but his IQ he can read where the basketball is coming off the rim and grab the ball, and just a real quick shot around the rim, whether with its left or his right. I was really impressed by his touch in the paint. And in drills that we were able to watch, he was scoring on Felix Akpar. He was scoring on JP Estrella and Cade Phillips and the rest of the guys. So I think Tennessee really, really found a diamond in the rough there. I mean, he's from right smack dab in the middle of Alabama in Hoover, and the school 45 minutes west of Birmingham did not show much interest in Dwayne at all, and neither did Auburn. And Auburn and Alabama are right there with Tennessee as some of the premier powers in the SEC right now, and they didn't really recruit him. It came down to Tennessee and Mississippi State for Dwayne Brown. I think he's got that chip on his shoulder because of it, and I think there will come a point in time where Nate Oates and Bruce Pearl, they're watching Dwayne do his thing at Tennessee and really kicking themselves for not pursuing him. He's a bit undersized for a center. He has more of a 4 body in terms of height, but he's also done a great job of getting in shape. I spoke to his high school coach when he committed, I guess a year or two ago. He was the first one to commit in this current freshman class, and he said the key for Dwayne is getting in SEC basketball shape, and I thought he did a great job of doing that throughout his senior year before he got here. So again, I don't think he's going to play a ton just because of how much depth is at that position. But I can see a scenario to where if there's foul trouble or if it's a big game and somebody's struggling, I can see Dwayne Brown doing what JP Estrella did against Purdue in the NCAA tournament, to kind of where he's thrown into the fire and is able to hold his own.
We'll get you out on this, Ben. After Henry Ford, who are you most excited about of the Vols transfer portal haul going into 2026?
Blaine Brown. I don't think Tennessee fans realize the talent that Tennessee picked up in Blaine Brown. He is an absolute stud. I have heard Lance Berkman rave about him and his talent, and he is a true two-way player. Now, I do think he'll hit more than he will pitch, but like I say that, and then also have to think on the other hand that, yeah, he might be more of a hitter, but he throws 100 miles an hour, and it's a real raw arm from the left side. And again, I just don't think Tennessee fans realize the type of talent Tennessee picked up in Blaine Brown. And I mentioned the pitching stuff. The bat was tremendous this past year at Rice as well. And as a true freshman, hit like 3rd or 4th right in the middle of that lineup. And that lefty swing in Lindsey Nelson Stadium is going to be real fun to watch. So I think he's one, everybody talks about Landon Mack and Henry Ford, and rightfully so. I can't wait to watch Landon Mack throw. I can't wait to watch Evan Blanco throw. The relievers that they picked up with Brady Fredrickson, Mark Hindy, and others, like I'm real excited about that. But I think Blaine Brown might end up being the most talented player on the team because of what he can do with the bat and with his arm on the mound. It's that type of raw talent. You saw the bat this year at Rice. That will only continue to get better, especially in Lindsey Nelson and with Josh Elander coaching him up in the cage. But you get that type of arm with Frank Anderson, and it's one that you could see some Todd Helton type of stuff where he's coming in at the end of games and closing it out just because of the velocity on the fastball.
How do you not get fired up about Blaine Brown after this from Ben McKee? You are all in on Blaine Brown. Now I'm ramped up. I didn't know he was even going to start in the lineup 1 through 9. Like he's got a battle.
He's going to be a starter. I mean, he's going to have to earn it, right?
I mean, where's he starting at though?
I think it depends on how much he pitches.
Okay.
If he's throwing a good bit, then probably DH.
Okay.
If not, then him and Chapman, I guess, will battle it out for a corner outfield spot. I mean, but there are 2 corner outfield spots open for grabs.
True.
I think Jay Abernathy is going to be your center fielder as long as he wins the job. I think Reese Chapman will be in left or right, and then I think Blaine Brown will also be in left or right. And I know, Henry Ford is also a corner outfielder, but he can also play third base and first base, and Tennessee needs a third baseman, needs a first baseman. I was kind of in wait-and-see mode with Tyler Myatt, the Walter State transfer, because JUCO bats don't always translate right away. But I've kind of reworked my thought process after seeing what he did in the Cape, and I think he's going to end up starting as well.
Second base maybe for him.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I think that's Chris Newstrom. Tennessee recruited Myatt as more of a corner outfielder, but he can also play third. So I kind of see that mix of Henry Ford and Tyler Myatt kind of somewhere, maybe a corner outfielder or third base. There's going to be a lot of competition, obviously, but I think Blaine Brown's going to prove to be one of the best bats in Tennessee's lineup, and I kind of think he's going to be a middle of the order bat. It's just a matter of, is he a DH or is he a corner outfielder? And I think it just depends on how much he pitches will determine that. But he's going to be a bullpen arm. He's not going to be a starter, which would make it easier for him to also play in the field while he is pitching. If he was starting, then he would most certainly have to be the DH. But if he's just coming in to close games out potentially or as a reliever, then he's probably playing in the field as well. And I think he's a middle of the order bat. I really do.
He's been McKee, GoVols247. beat writer extraordinaire, baseball, basketball, football. He does it all and does it extremely well. Ben, thank you so much for the time. We'll have to check back in again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Y'all have a great rest of your week.
Ben McKee, GoVols247. Always great connecting with Ben and, man, Blaine Brown. I know Garrett's the resident Tennessee baseball guy here as well, man. I mean, that's high praise for Blaine Brown, the Rice transfer.
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, I didn't really know that he threw that hard.
Yeah.
I mean, he said he could touch triple digits, I guess. I'll be honest, I haven't watched much of him. I mean, I looked at his stats, and his ERA last year obviously wasn't anything that impressive, and I know we hit him pretty good when we played against him in that tournament in Houston. But obviously you can develop from your freshman year to your sophomore year, and he's obviously a powerful hitter. So he's going to be one of those guys that, they're going to be able to use in multiple different spots. I mean, it seems like he can play outfield, infield, pitch, hit. I mean, if you're a 5-tool player, I mean, you can't really say no to someone being in the lineup every day that can play anything that you want him to. So, I didn't really expect him to say that he was kind of locked in to be a starter. Maybe not locked in is the right word, but have a very good chance of being a starter. But I mean, if he contributes to the team in the way that he thinks he can, then I think there's no reason not to have him be a starter.
I'm here for it, man. I am here for Blaine Brown buzz. When we come back, we'll check in with Ethan Stone of Saturday Down South as we continue our player review series. We've hit Igor. We've hit a couple other guys here over the last couple of weeks. Now it's time to talk Jordan Gainey and what he did for Tennessee his final season with the Vols. Stick with us. It's The Chase right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app.
For the fans, by the fans, this is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Hey, Pack Rat. Yeah, you. Are you moving cross country and you just don't know who to call? Call us right now. Listen, you've probably seen one of our containers in your neighborhood, but did you know that we can help you move anywhere in the United States? It's real simple. We'll drop a container off at the location you tell us to bring it to. You pack up your valuable possessions at your leisure. They stay safe right in your home. And when you're ready, call us. We'll come and pick up the container and give you a scheduled date of when your furniture and the other possessions will be at your new home. So if you're moving across country or across town, be a Pack Rat. Join the Pack Rat family. Call Pack Rat right now for your free quote. See y'all later, Pack Rats.
Call 800-965-1298. 800-965-1298. 800-965-1298. That's 800-965-1298.
In a world filled with deadlines and screens, sometimes we forget the simple joys of life, days filled with special moments. At Inward Half, we understand the essence of these moments. Feel the difference between our breathable fabrics and flexible apparel as you disconnect from the hustle and bustle and reconnect with what truly matters. Inward Half, simple luxury for on and off the course.
Yo, what is up with
Hello,
it, homie?
is Tina there?
Who's this?
Yeah, this is Vince from the hit reality show Wives Don't Tell. Tina applied for our show to confess that her husband won't go to the doctor to get his erectile dysfunction checked. She said she's ready for a guy that can bring the heat.
All right, what the hell is going on? You know you're talking to her husband right now? Tina!
Well, she wrote the application that her man's performance is questionable. She's basically married to a coffee table. She also said, we live within driving distance to Men's Pro Knoxville, but he's too scared to get a blood test.
Oh my, she is done. She is so done.
Got you, Mike. It's nephew Tommy. Ain't no reality show. It's a prank. Men's Pro Knoxville is the real deal, fellas. Local experts, test results in minutes. Call 865-544-8220 or hit men'spro-knoxville.com before your lady books a new co-star. Men's Pro Knoxville, making it happen.
Believe in family. Believe in your fellow man. Believe in honesty and an honest day's work. We do. We're Farm Bureau Insurance. And we don't just believe in Tennessee. We believe in Tennesseans. Farm Bureau Insurance, Tennessee's insurance company.
This is Baseball VFL Cody Brown.
Farm Bureau Insurance is the official insurance for Tennesseans. Believe in me for all of your insurance needs. Give me a call at 865-992-3871.
We really need to get some branded stuff. Shirts, hats, promo items, something professional.
I mean, we could just find a website and order a bunch of it ourselves.
You could, but you're taking a big risk. You don't know the quality, the fit, the timeline. It's a roll of the dice.
Yeah, I guess. But isn't that how everyone does it now?
Not the ones who actually care about how their brand looks. Look, if we're putting our name on it, it needs to be done right. We need SM Athletics.
SM Athletics?
Yeah, they specialize in working with businesses like ours. Apparel, hats, promo gear, but real, customized stuff. They actually care if it turns out right.
Probably a lot better than getting stuck with 100 t-shirts with crooked logos.
Exactly. Plus, they'll walk you through everything. Sizing, colors, material, so it matches the image we're trying to build.
Makes sense. What's the name again?
SM Athletics. Trust me, if you want to look like a real company, not a flea market stand, this is the move. If you're serious about your brand, work with people who are serious about getting it right. SM Athletics.
When it's past high noon, it's time for a vodka soda made with a vodka you've actually heard of. I'm talking White Claw vodka soda made with White Claw premium vodka. JB Smooth only drinks vodka soda made with the world's smoothest vodka.
And you can too. Pick you up a bottle of the triple wave filtered vodka that's been distilled 5 times. White Claw premium vodka comes in 4 flavors: black cherry, mango, pineapple, and just vodka. You haven't had vodka like this. No one has. White Claw premium vodka. Please drink responsibly.
Yeehaw! I've been hooting and hollering ever since I started betting with the VIP Play app. VIP Play has more than 200 leagues, every bet type you can imagine, live betting and live hosts, all with 24/7 support from real live people when you need them. Start betting better with the VIP Play app today.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Make sure you use the promo code FANRUN to take advantage of their welcome bonus and so they know that we sent you. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-8899-789. Must be 21 or older and located in Tennessee to bet.
It's a chase right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app. Great stuff from Ben McKee of GoVols247 right here at the top of hour number 2. So we continue on with Saturday Down South. Ethan Stone in studio on a Thursday. Ethan, Jordan Gainey player profile review. What did you see from Jordan Gainey this past year? What did he get better at here in his final season on Rocky Top? Where did he maybe take a step back? And what was your favorite Jordan Gainey game this past season?
Yeah, I think Gainey's just a guy in general that a lot of Tennessee fans, you lose Zakai, you lose Chaz Lanier, you lose all these top guys for Tennessee basketball. And Gainey's one I think that's flying under the radar that people are really going to miss. Just because, in 2024, I feel like a good portion of, not the problem, but the issues with Tennessee, especially on the offensive side, is it was a lot of sitting back and watching Dalton Connect do his thing. And then, Zakai Ziegler was a decent 2 option as a guy that can score when Tennessee really needed it, in the tournament, especially. I feel like it's where that came to fruition. And I feel like the biggest difference in Gainey's game heading into his last year with the Vols is just how much better he got and how much more confident he was shooting the ball and being that third option with Chaz and with Zakai. And just running the offense, because in the SEC you can't just have 2 guys. You can. Tennessee made it to the Elite 8 with it, but for Tennessee to, I feel like, reach its ceiling, they needed a guy like Jordan Gainey to step up, and he did. There was a point last season where when he was taking mid-range shots, I felt it was just as automatic as Zakai at the rim, right? Like he he was entering Jordan Bone territory, I feel like, in that respect. And he was able to find another gear just offensively that at the end of games too, like you want Zakai having it, you want Chaz having it. I'd be just as confident with Jordan Gainey in crunch time. And he proved it right against Illinois, because that was probably my favorite Jordan Gainey game of the year. It was also, I think, one of the more underrated performances of Vols had for Tennessee basketball in the Barnes era. I genuinely believe that. He had a fantastic game against the Illini when Zakai was not having his best game. Chaz had, I believe it was 17 points, but it was on an inefficient showing. He was like 5 of 18, something like that. Gainey was the only one. He was 6 of 14 on the day. Only one that was in the efficiency range on offense. And obviously he had the coast-to-coast buzzer beater against Illinois to win that game, which ended up being a massive non-conference win for the Vols. And like I say, I think he showed that in a lot of different ways. The one area that always kind of confounds me with Gainey is just how unfortunate it is that he wasn't able to take that step as a three-point shooter, because, you know, it's so strange. In Big South play at USC Upstate, his very first season, he shot 50% from three on like 130 attempts. And he was even better in conference play. He was the number 1 Big South three-point shooter, 54%. He was the number 5 three-point shooter in the entire country at 50%. And then he just never even really came close to replicating that again. His next season at USC Upstate, he wasn't able to do it. He was shot, I believe it was like 34%, and he just kept going down from there when he kind of took a step up and got to the SEC with Tennessee. Shot, I think it was 28% and then 30% his senior year from range. And obviously, you know, the step up in competition, that's going to do that. And I think more important than the step up in competition is he prided himself more on getting to the rim and hitting those mid-range shots and being a better overall player. Whereas I feel like that first season at USC Upstate, a main focus of what they wanted him to do is just be the guy that shoots threes, right? And that's going to make things easier when you're outside, and that's what you're told to do. You're told to play defense. You're told to shoot threes, and that was he was very, very good at that. But yeah, just in general, I wish, you know, it would have been perfect for Tennessee basketball if he could have taken that step there and been a little more reliable of a three-point shooter. But I feel like what he gave the Vols on offense more than makes up for that.
Yeah, and what I appreciated most about Jordan, not just the buzzer beater against Illinois, but also he, like you said, it was just, I imagine for him, because we know he is a good shooter. Like, I don't know Zakai Ziegler is a good three-point shooter. I know Jordan Gainey is a good three-point shooter. Yep. It just, for some reason, it felt like he was like the unluckiest shooter. You saw like Santi his last year. It felt like Santi was very unlucky for Tennessee in a lot of ways. That's what I felt like Jordan Gainey was over 2 years, just from distance, where Gainey, though, to his credit, and he deserves so much credit for how he evolved his final year at Tennessee, because you look at all the different 3-man, 2-man lineups on Evan Manaya and all those different college basketball analytics sites. Jordan Gainey was in all the best lineups for Tennessee last year. And he, even if the shot wasn't there, he found different ways to be proactive, whether that was with steals, batted balls, just being a guy who defenses had to account for. He drove so much more this past year, and he was comfortable driving inside. It was fearless inside. Great free throw shooter. Was someone that if Tennessee was in kind of a lull, like he was one of those guys who was not afraid to shoot. He was just a great glue guy who evolved as a player when the shot wasn't there, because he would have been really hard to play for these last 2 years if all he did was shoot the way he did from distance, you know? So he deserves a lot of credit for how he evolved and how he fit in last year, especially because this was his best year. And he grew a lot from year 1 to year 2 on Rocky Top. And he's someone that if Tennessee was not able to kind of fill out that 2-guard depth, like everyone was looking at Zakai Ziegler and Jemai Meshack for another year or something. For me, it was like, man, Jordan Gainey would just be the perfect combo guard to have back, especially because you have so much turnover in the backcourt from a season ago, and you're losing 2 long-term stalwarts in Zakai and Jemai. Like, if you have Jordan Gainey back, just because it felt like he was one of the lieutenants as well, that would have been really nice as another bridge guy to keep this thing on the tracks. I really appreciated Jordan Gainey last year. I thought he was fantastic. And I mean, think about it. Last year, the conversation was, should Gainey or Meshack start for a lot of the year? And it was because both were playing well. It's just 2 very different players. And the main thing was Gainey and Meshack were on the floor together in crunch time because both were winning basketball players for Tennessee.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. The biggest positive that Jordan Gainey brought to Tennessee basketball last season is his willingness to fit into his role and how elite he was at doing that. like filling that and being the guy that if Tennessee needs a bucket, they'll turn to him. They'll say, hey, we need a bucket, and he'd go get a bucket. If they need him to just play good defense for a game, he'd do that. If he always found a way to fill his role, and that's why I also agree with you that this season, if Gainey was on this team, I'd be proclaiming from the mountaintops that Tennessee's a Final Four team. Absolutely, because he would fit what the Vols need so perfectly. And it's the type of thing where I agree with you that I think his confidence in the 3-point shot just was not there really at all. And like I said earlier, I think that it's a bit of a trade-off, right? Like, I think him being able to find his shot in other ways helped him in that regard. And then, the 3-point shot can suffer as a result of it, because like you said, Chase, he can do it. He wouldn't have shot 50% from 3 in a college basketball season if he couldn't do it. It's just a matter of replicating it and obviously playing against what was potentially one of the best conferences in college basketball history last season too, especially on the defensive end. It'd be huge to have Gainey back this season. I'd love it if only, right?
If only. But we're still pretty excited about Tennessee basketball. I'm very bullish and excited, but it just would have been a cherry on top to have Jordan Gainey back for one more year. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more SEC hoops with Ethan Stone of Saturday Down South, as we'll continue our series of better equipped to bounce back in the SEC next season. Is it LSU with Oak Ridge's own Coach McMahon, or is it Mississippi State, who lost a lot in the portal? And we'll see if they're able to, with Chris Jan's, bounce back in 2025 as well. We'll pick Ethan's brain on that. And then more pressure to win big this year in college football in the SEC in particular. Is it Texas or Alabama who has to win big and make the playoff and go far in the playoff between Kalen DeBoer and Steve Sarkisian? Stick with us. The Chase, as we wrap up hour number 2 right here on The Chase with Ethan Stone of Saturday Down South in studio. It's The Chase, Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app.
Check out our new and improved website at fanrunradio.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jacob Wilco, and I'm proud to join the team here at Knoxville Smiles, where we're leading the way in comfortable, modern dentistry. Many people are anxious about going to the dentist. Here at Knoxville Smiles, our team works hard to make the experience as comfortable as possible. We offer everything from warm blankets to sedation dentistry to help you relax and make your visit as enjoyable as possible. So if it's been a while since you've been to the dentist, give us a call at 865-539-1776 to experience a dental visit that will make you smile.
Blackford Veterinary Surgery Referral specializes in surgeries not regularly performed by your pet's general veterinarian. They're currently accepting referrals from vets all across the country. With their newly renovated state-of-the-art surgery center and highly trained staff, clients can rely on professional and thorough care. If your vet says that your pet needs surgery or rehab, ask for a referral to Blackford Vet and let them get your best friend back on its feet. Located conveniently in West Knoxville. For more information, visit blackfordvetsurgery.com.
Attention service members and veterans. Introducing the Griffin Law Firm, your trusted ally in military legal matters. From court martials to benefit claims, at Griffin Law, your mission is their mission. Here's VFL Marshall Griffin.
As a veteran and retired military attorney, I've successfully defended lifelong benefits and helped preserve professional futures. So I know that when you hire a military justice lawyer, you maximize your chance to get relief. With my unique experience, I can advocate for you because there's no military matter that's too big or too small. Let us help you make these critical decisions that could affect the rest of your life. Remain silent. Request counsel. Call Griffin Law.
For a free consultation, call 888-707-4282. That's 888-707-4282. Or just visit griffinlawdefense.com.
Got a problem tree looming over your home? Call ECR Total Landscapes. Whether it's trimming, removal, or storm cleanup, our certified pros get the job done safely and efficiently. We're licensed, insured, and ready 24/7 for emergency calls. Big or small, we cut them all. ECR Total Landscapes. Call now for a free estimate, 865-384-2012, and mention promo code FANRUN for free stump grinding on any tree removal now through the end of the year. Also, visit us at ecrtotallandscapes.com.
Running a business, coaching a team, planning your next big event? You need more than just gear. You need SM Athletics and Logo Solutions. Custom uniforms, branded apparel, promotional products, done right, done fast, and built to show off your brand with pride. From local businesses to high schools to major universities, SM Athletics is trusted by winners. Get real service, get real quality, get noticed. SM Athletics and Logo Solutions, where your brand comes to life.
Visit smathletics.com and let's build something great together.
It's the Chase right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app. Thanks for sticking with us right here on the Chase with Ethan Stone of Saturday Down South in studio with us. As always, you can call and text the show. 865-966-3435 is the way to do so. 865-966-3435 is the way to do so. The Drive with Russell Smith and the Bear coming up here at 3 o'clock with Overtime and William Pattison from 6 to 8 as well. So a whole lot more Fan Run Radio sports coverage coming your way as we wrap up here on a Thursday. Ethan Stone, though, whole lot of SEC talk here to put a bow on today's show. Better equipped. We talked Texas, Oklahoma last week. In your estimation, though, who is better equipped in your deep dive analysis to bounce back in the SEC on the men's hoop side next year? LSU or Mississippi State?
Yeah, this is an interesting question because both of them have replaced so much.
Yeah.
Right. Like you kind of mentioned a little bit earlier that LSU lost a lot. I think you actually said Mississippi State. I just messed it up because both of them lost a lot to the transfer portal, and both of them obviously are rebuilding through the portal and through the freshman class. To answer your question, I would say Mississippi State, and that's for two reasons. For one, I think LSU is in this very weird stage under Matt McMahon where maybe this will be the breakout year for them, and maybe they'll finally but it's been 3 years of pretty much right at 500 play, right? They have a good non-conference start, and then they just can't keep up with the rest of the SEC. Yeah. And the guys they've added, I like Deaton Thomas out of UNLV. I think he's going to be a good player. I think Reed coming back is going to be big for LSU, and I think they have a lot of potential to put together a good team. But I'm a little more bearish on their roster construction compared to Mississippi State, who, while I also have some, to be totally honest with you, I think both of these are going to be bottom 5 SEC teams. I think Mississippi State will be right around 5, though, 5th from the bottom, because they got Josh Hubbard, who second team All-SEC player last season. I think he could definitely make the jump to be a first team All-SEC player this year. Fantastic shooter. He's just a next level talent, I think. If he was built a little taller with a little more of a frame, I think he'd be an NBA player because I think he has that type of talent. And then Quincy Ballard coming over, I think he's between the two programs that we're talking about here. I think he's the best transfer addition of the group. I think he's going to be a lot of fun. I think he's going to fit right in into the SEC coming over from Wichita State. He's just a force. He's fun to watch, man. Offensively, he's just a force. He's a big guy. And I think he will have that size that'll be able to kind of contend with the rest of the front courts in the SEC, which I think is going to be the strength for the SEC this season, is the front court more than the back court. But I think the fact that they had those two guys, they filled it in pretty well. Mississippi State did. Jaden Epps has kind of had an up and down career, but he's got plenty of talent. It's just a matter of kind of putting it all together. Sean Jones coming back for Mississippi State, I think will be good. And then, just from there, I think a guy I haven't even mentioned yet because I'm interested to see how he fits on the team is Jabari McKee at a UAB. I think he is similar to Hubbard in a lot of ways with how explosive he is, and I think it'd be a lot of fun for both of them to be on the court at the same time. Problem is, they're not the tallest guys. Jabari's 6'1", and I want to think Josh Hubbard's 5'11", 6 foot. So that they might have a bit of a size problem if they run that backcourt in the SEC. But both of them are dynamic athletes, very, very, very good offensive players. And it's definitely going to be hard to guard them for sure. It's just I wonder how that'll translate on defense when it's all said and done.
It's also really interesting in terms of when you look at McMahon versus Jans, is that both 3 years, 2 very different results in terms of also just kind of doing more with less. Chris Jans has made the tournament 3 straight years, all 3 years at Mississippi State, which is hard to do. Chris Jans I think this year will be his hardest to maintain getting to the SEC tournament for his first 4 seasons at Mississippi State. Matt McMahon has not made it yet. And he made it 3 of his 4 years at LSU outside of the COVID year where they don't get in, obviously, but they were still 23-9, 15-3. They were first in conference. Like, I think they probably would have been a tournament team. So they probably would have made the tournament 4 or 5 years when he was at Murray State. But he also just doesn't have that same kind of track record. But I just thought when he moved up, that was an okay hire at the time. Where Matt McMahon was someone who I thought could do more with less, because LSU will always be a football and baseball school. And it's going to be harder to win on especially because women is just dominating as much as they are, that it was going to be a hard job that he's walking into, but the hire made sense. If you were going to try Moneyball men's hoops, Matt McMahon made a lot of sense with what he was able to do there. But I think Chris Jans has done a better job with that at Mississippi State. I mean, he came in from New Mexico State. He has all kinds of JUCO history with Chipola, Howard College, Kirkwood, bunch of different stops. He's been all over the place, but he has absolutely found a way to make it work. And I think that was just such a sneaky great hire for Mississippi State, just because they're always going to have trouble retaining top talent every year in year out. And guess who has dealt with that more than any other coach in America? A JUCO coach. And his history there, being able to replenish and replace a whole heck of a lot of guys on your roster year in, year out, makes me bullish more on Mississippi State breaking through than LSU, even though I do think LSU has the potential to be better. And I think they did pretty okay here. Definitely this cycle better in the portal than they did last cycle, setting up McMahon to have a better shot. But I don't know. I am curious how LSU handles it, because if they go 4 straight years without making the tournament, and he was a 7-year contract guy, I wonder what their thinking is there, because you've got Jay Johnson, who's locked in LSU long term. You got Kim with women's hoops. I imagine she's locked in long time. And then Brian Kelly, I guess that's part of McMahon's future, is like, if Brian Kelly breaks through, then do you have more of an appetite if Matt McMahon has a bad year? That like, hey, we're pretty solid everywhere else. We're not thinking we're going to do 2 buyouts in a short amount of time. Do we make that move? I don't know, but I also think he's been kind of hamstrung a little bit those first couple of years in Baton Rouge. So it's hard for me to get a great feel on how much is fair of the criticism with the Bayou Bengals. But yeah, I don't know. It's a critical year for LSU, but I do think I'm buying more Mississippi State stock to bounce back. If I had to pick one, but like you, I don't see either in a weaker SEC, either having the kind of year that I think a lot of Tiger and Bulldogs fans would hope for.
Yes, something I always, and it's probably unfair of me to do this, I just remember when Matt McMahon was hired out of Murray State, obviously. I remember he and Todd Golden were hired in the same cycle. And I also remember thinking both of them are like analytics kind of driven guys, both kind of younger. And so naturally I compared the two when they were hired. And I said, who is going to end up in a better scenario here? And I mean, it's not even a competition, right? I mean, Todd Golden in Florida just won a national championship. They're going to have one of the best teams in college basketball this season. So that analytics approach has very obviously worked out for Florida. Whereas LSU, I don't think I'm ready to say that it hasn't, because, I mean, they haven't been a dumpster fire. They've just been at 500. They've been at the bottom of the SEC. And I guess you could call that a dumpster fire if you're an LSU fan, because you're not winning basketball games ultimately when it comes down to it. But they're just in such a strange place. And like you said, Chase, I think it is a very critical year for them, because if they do this again and they get a whole bunch of transfers again, and while they have talent, I think on that, like Max McKinnon, for example, I think he could be a good player. I think Deaton Thomas could be a good player. I think Jalen Reed could do well in his returning role. It's just, you got to fit all those pieces together. And if LSU can't do that again for a 4th season, there's going to be some wondering, I think, about McMahon and his future in Baton Rouge.
Absolutely. On the football side of things, though, who do you think has more pressure to win big in 2025? Because Texas is getting all the preseason #1 love, but Alabama still, the standard is the standard. And Kalen DeBoer missing the playoff in year 1, he didn't even really get a mulligan type deal. They're like, hey, it was still a lot of Saban players. It was still, you should have at least made the playoff. We're not saying you had to win the national title last year, but you shouldn't lose to Vanderbilt. I've heard a lot of Alabama Crimson Tide fans say it's probably not something you want to have happen in year 0. But also, as people may have forgotten, Kirby Smart lost early on, I believe, to Vanderbilt, if I'm not mistaken. Correct, Garrett, CFB historian? Didn't Kirby lose to Vanderbilt early on?
They might have. Nick Saban lost to Louisiana Monroe in his first season.
It's true.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean anything. Like, it's just year 0. That's part of the deal. I will say, one of the things that is interesting going into the season, I'm very bullish, as everyone here at the station knows, about Ty Simpson and the Alabama offense in 2025. I think they return a whole heck of a lot of talent, like their schedule. I think Alabama has a chance to be better than Texas, but I do think Texas, kind of in that same Penn State vein, where it's a big year for Arch. He sat, like, it's a rarity where you had a guy sit for as long as Arch Manning did, waiting for his time. And they've spent a lot. Ryan Wingo looks like a breakout 5-star wide receiver on the outside. They're obviously going to be strong in the trenches. They've had to go in the portal pretty heavy on the defensive line interior, but I think the secondary is going to be really good for Texas again. It's the easiest schedule for any contender in the SEC this year. I don't think that schedule is going to be nearly as easy going into 26 and beyond for the Longhorns. But I don't know. It's kind of a, if not now, then when type of deal. But they're also just set up to be a sustainable juggernaut. I don't know. I go back and forth on who has more pressure to actually make a deep playoff run this year between Texas and Alabama. What say you, Ethan?
Yeah, I kind of went back and forth when you first posed this question to me. I grew up in Dallas in the 2000s, and obviously it's not Austin, Texas, a little above a few hundred miles north, but the hype around Texas football when they're very good and where they are now, I would say it's similar, obviously, to what Tennessee is. And everyone knows how how crazy Tennessee fans are about the Vols. Texas has been waiting for this, for I feel like this type of season, this hype heading into this year, since then. That's why I led with that, since those 20 years. So I think my answer would be Texas. And it's also because, like I say, they're building there. Arch is there. Defense is still going to be really, really good. I mean, they're the preseason #1 overall team for a lot of people. The expectations are back for the University of Texas and for the Longhorns. And while Alabama, I believe, will get to that point, I think you brought it up. They lost to Vanderbilt last year. Like, I think Alabama fans are absolutely, they want a title within the next 5 years, but I think this year it's just get to the college football playoff. Don't lose to Vanderbilt. Anything less than that, I think, would be unacceptable for Alabama fans. Got to get to the playoff. I think Texas, if you don't get to the title game, you're going to get some people that are pretty angry. Now, you and I can debate whether or not that is justified. You're right. But I do believe that if they don't at least get to the title game, if they're not competitive in that, I think there's going to be a lot of fans that are quite upset with it because of the expectations and because of just the pure talent that's on the roster. How long is this window going to be open? Is Arch Manning going to stay another year is another important question in all of this, because there's kind of some rumblings that he's not going to go to the draft. He's going to stay one more year in Austin. So if I had to answer your question, I'd say Texas, just because I think, #1, I think they're also going to be, I wouldn't say they're going to be a better team, because I've told you, Chase, I think Alabama has probably the highest ceiling just because they're so elite at receiver. They have a good defense. I think Justin Jefferson's going to step into a good place in the linebacker room. I like LT Overton. I think he's going to be good in the pass rush. They have a fantastic secondary. Like, all the pieces are there for Alabama. I just don't quite think where DeBoer is, just a second year, I don't think there will be quite the reaction if Alabama doesn't make it to the title game compared to what Texas is at.
I don't think it's crazy to say if I don't think it's crazy to say if Bama does not make the playoff this year that DeBoer might not make it to year 3. I think the expectations are that high at the University of Alabama and this schedule and where they're at. You got to make it. And I'm a huge Kalen DeBoer guy. The reaction to 9-4 last year was very strong. And this is just a program, and where they're set up this year, they should be a college football playoff team. Missing back-to-back college football playoffs at Alabama is just, in a 12-team playoff era, is a totally different deal. And I don't think Texas is in any kind of jeopardy. It's almost like they can sleepwalk to 10-2 with their schedule and make the CFP. Bama still has to win some toss-up games to get to 10-2 and make the CFP. If you go 9-3, miss the CFP, when you say scorching hot seat, even though he is one of the 5 best coaches in the sport, I think the hot seat is scorching for DeBoer if he goes into year 3. Yeah,
who do they replace him with?
I mean, they're Alabama. They can find, they'll be able to. I mean, they'll make calls. Like, is it Glenn Schumann? Who do they call? Do they call Dabo again? Like, I don't know. I don't know who they end up calling. Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, Alabama's going to try. They're going to swing.
I think that would be stupid to fire him. I mean, he's one of the most winningest coaches at every level.
Yeah.
One at Fresno State, one at Washington.
Year 2 at Washington, 14-1, 9-0 in the Pac-12.
Won a national championship at Washington.
Yeah, in year 2.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
I don't
There's the year 2 jump is real with Kalen
For
DeBoer.
me, though, it's still Texas. Like, they haven't won a national championship since Vince Young was there in 05.
Yeah.
Steve Sarkisian's rebuild of Texas since 2021, I think, is one of the most incredible coaching jobs in college football history. Like, I'll go ahead and say it. When he left USC, he never thought he'd get a head coaching job again. Texas took a home run swing. They hired him. They were the same old Texas they'd been for the past 10 years. They couldn't win the big game. Within one season, they go on the road. They beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Like, that was kind of the start of it. Or I guess that would have been year 3. 2023, they do that. And then, they make back-to-back college football playoffs. Now, was the coaching that they ran at the end of the Ohio State game last year questionable in the red zone? 100%. But I think Texas has – if Alabama doesn't win this year, like, they've won so many national titles in a row, their fan base – they're like Georgia fans. Like, they don't know what to do with themselves when they don't win the national title because they've been in the position so many times in a row. If you're the athletic director of Alabama, there's no way that you're firing Kalen DeBoer unless they go like 7-5 this year.
I don't even know if it's 7-5. I think 8-4. You take a step back from year 1. I don't know, man.
I don't think they'd
You still
fire
think
him.
he gets fired this quickly?
Yeah, there's no chance.
There's no
fire
way.
Someone that quickly.
I think if it's 8 or less, I will say lock.
What if Todd Simpson's horrible and they bring in Keelan Russell throughout the middle of the season? Jalen Milroe was not that good last year.
Right.
That was part of the problem. Think about all the great quarterbacks Nick Saban's obviously the greatest coach of all time, but think about all the great quarterbacks he had, and then think about Jalen Milroe was not that great of an option last year.
No, I don't disagree. You're thinking too rationally. I am saying the Heat, if you miss the playoff in back-to-back years, you take a step back in the win-loss record at Alabama. It's just different.
Oh, I know.
Different
I
expectations.
would agree with that. I think the Heat will be there. I don't think there's any way, shape, or form they fire him.
The fans, though, aren't making the decision on whether he's the coach next year or not. It's the athletic department.
It's the whole thing. Like, if Tennessee maybe isn't the best this year, fans will want Heupel to go, but, like, they're not going to fire him.
All right, Knoxville. The chase has come to a close here on a Thursday. Thank you to Ethan Stone, Garrett Armbrust, Jay King. The Drive with Russell Smith and the Bears up next. Chase is back tomorrow with Jack Foster at 1 o'clock. Have a wonderful afternoon, East Tennessee.
The Chase on Fox Sports Knoxville and Fan Run Radio. Heck yeah.